LWO1 WeatherNet. Liftoff conditions looking pretty good.
ESTS is ready for launch.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
Ten, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And with all systems go for launch, let's listen into the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes the SXM-8 satellite into orbit.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
With the SXM-8 satellite from Space Launch Complex 40. Now the next event coming up here is Max Q, and that is maximum aerodynamic pressure. That's the largest structural load that the vehicle will see on ascent. So we do power down the engines just slightly in preparation. And then
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
After Max Q, we will throttle them back up.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And there's that call out that we just passed through Max Q. So in about a couple of minutes, we will have 3 events happening within seconds of each other. That'll be main engine cutoff, or what we call MECO, stage separation, and SES-1, or second engine start 1. Now main engine cutoff is where we shut down all 9 of those M1D engines on that first stage. And that slows the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation. Stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage, and the first stage will begin to make its way back home to Earth for landing, and stage 2 will continue on its journey with the third event, SES-1. Now that's where the MVAC engine on the second stage lights up and propels the second stage along with the SXM-8 satellite to orbit. And we're just under about 20 seconds away from those 3 events. Again, that is MECO, stage separation, and SES-1.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed. MVAC ignition.
And there you could see all 3 of those events, MECO and stage separation. On your left-hand screen is a view of first stage. On your right-hand screen, you could see that MVAC engine on the second stage glowing bright red. You also got a little glimpse of the green T-TEB ignition for SES-1. Now we're coming up on fairing deploy here, just under 10 seconds away.
Vehicle's on a nominal trajectory.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there we got a nice live visual of the fairing halves deploying from second stage. As a reminder, this was the first flight for both fairing halves, and we will be attempting to recover these new fairing halves with the help of our recovery vessel's Go Navigator. As second stage head towards its targeted orbit, stage 1 will execute 2 burns in order to make its way back to Earth. The first of those two burns is called the entry burn, and that's where we light up 3 of the 9 M1D engines. Now this helps to slow re-entering back into the upper parts of the Earth's atmosphere. And then after the entry burn will be the second and final burn, and that is the landing burn. Now this is a single engine burn that brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to touch down on our drone ship. Again, today we will be attempting to land on just read the instructions. And as a reminder, today's mission is for SXM, carrying the SXM-8 satellite to its targeted orbit.
Falcon 9 continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
And SXM-8 is the 12th satellite to be launched for SiriusXM service. It transmits 73 decibel watts at peak power, which is 20 million watts of power. Now, deploying the unfurlable reflector is like opening a large umbrella in space. And a very large umbrella, it's about 9 meters or 29 feet, which is taller than the average 2-story house. Now, with the solar arrays deployed, the length of the satellite is about the same length as a 737 airplane. Now, we're coming up on entry burn on the first stage, just under 10 seconds away or so.
Stage 1 FTS has safed.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And there you heard the call out, and on your left-hand screen, you could see that the entry burn has begun on the first stage. Seconds or so. And again, it helps to slow the vehicle down as it's entering back into the Earth's atmosphere.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And again, there's that call out, and you can see on your left-hand screen that the entry burn has. On your right-hand screen, stage 2 is still looking nominal. And we're just about a minute away from the landing burn on the first stage. And right before the landing burn will be second engine cutoff 1 or SECO 1. And that's where we shut down that MVAC engine that you're looking at on your screen there. A reminder, we do have 2 burns of this MVAC engine for today's mission. And that helps get
Second stage is in terminal guidance.
That helps get the SXM-8 satellite to its final orbit.
Stage 1 landing burn startup.
So the landing burn has begun on first stage. Let's see. We also got a good orbit on the second stage.
Stage 1 landing by default.
And we have touchdown of Falcon 9. Falcon 9 has
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
just landed on our drone ship. Just read the instructions. Today marks the 87th overall successful recovery of an orbital class rocket, as well as SpaceX's 125th successful mission to date. Now, while that was all happening, we did have a successful SECO 1, and a call out for good orbit. So now that second stage is going to coast in this orbit or so. So we'll see you back here at T plus 25 minutes for the second stage relight.
Expected loss of signal, Bermuda.
Welcome back to the live webcast of SpaceX's SXM-8 mission. We had an on-time liftoff at 12.
Chills underway.
We had an on-time liftoff at 12:26 a.m. Eastern Time from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Stage 1 returned back to Earth and touched down on a drone ship. Just read the instructions, and this was the third flight and landing for this specific booster. Our second stage is still looking good on a nominal trajectory after its first burn, and now it's getting ready for SES-2 in a few seconds here. SES-2 is second engine start 2, and again, as I mentioned earlier, we do have 2 burns for this second stage in order to get the SXM-8 satellite to its final orbit. And we're just about 20 seconds away from SES-2. That burn will last just about 35 seconds or so long, and will be followed by SECO-2, or second engine cutoff 2.
Vac ignition.
And there you can visually see on your screen that second stage ending back up. Again, this is the second of 2 burns. It lasts just about 30 or so seconds long.
And vac cutoff.
And there we have confirmed SECO-2, or second engine cutoff 2. And we did get a good orbit. So we now have another coast phase. We have another coast phase before we can deploy the SXM-8 satellite from Falcon 9's second stage. So we'll see you back here around T-minus 31 minutes. T plus 31 minutes. Welcome back once again to our broadcast for our SXM-8 mission. If you're just joining us, here's a quick recap of today's milestones. We had a successful liftoff from Space Launch Complex 40 at 12:26 a.m. Eastern Time. From there, we had a successful stage separation, recovered this first stage for the 3rd time on our drone ship, just read the instructions, and have had 2 successful second stage MVAC engine startups. Now we are coming up on the deployment of SXM-8, SiriusXM's next generation satellite. Let's listen in for the call out for payload deploy coming up here in a few seconds.
Payload separation confirmed.
And there you can see on your screen the SXM-8 satellite drifting away from second stage, confirming payload deploy. What an awesome view of the satellite drifting away. With a successful separation of the SXM-8 satellite from Falcon 9's second stage, that will bring our webcast coverage to a close. To the Range and Federal Aviation Administration, thank you for supporting today's mission. And of course, to all of our viewers, thank you for supporting our mission by tuning in to today's webcast. We'll see you next time.